Jim, you've worked in late night, but this is your first time as a guest, and thank you so much for doing this because I know you normally don't like to do this.
No, not really.
Yeah.
I like to be out there or back there.
Yeah, but you're doing this as a favor to me. I just want to let everyone know things that Jim Downey has written. I know I do. Yeah. Chippendale sketch with Patrick Swayze and Chris Farley. The Chris Farley talk show. You're the head writer of Weekend Update with Norm Macdonald. The head writer of Late Night with David Letterman. Wrote for Dana Carvey when he played President Bush. Knock on that. Knock on that. And you wrote for Will Ferrell when he played President George W. Bush and wrote the word strategery. That's some of the things you've done, and some of the great things you've done. I first met you at Saturday Night Live when I started in '98. Do you remember meeting me?
I remember Jimmy. Jimmy sent jokes to Update when I was working on Update with Norm Macdonald, and I think we used some of them. And then a few years later, Jimmy was hired as a feature player in the cast in like '98, and you called me, wanted to have dinner with me in 2000 because Lauren had suggested that Jimmy take over Update, and you wanted my opinion, and I said, you know, I don't know if you want to do Update. It's a personality act. It's like we'd lose you from sketches. You wouldn't be able to do characters and impressions, and everything. And it's like if you wanted to do like a talk show or something down the road, Update would be okay. But I urged Jimmy not to do it. And
now I'm the host of the Tonight Show.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God you didn't listen to my dreadful career advice.
You always gave me the best advice, and you're always there, and very charming and very nice to me as a nervous kid, which I didn't know where to turn it. You answered every question, and I appreciated that, and I've known you now for 25 years. Gosh, I'm lucky to be friends with you. This is us at the SNL 50th party, the 50th anniversary party. This is me and you.
Oh, yeah.
And you had an eye patch, and that was a real eye patch.
That was a real eye patch, and it was not like a Nick Fury kind of thing. It was, I had fallen off the stage at Radio City a few days earlier when I was doing a thing with Bill Murray, and my eye, they said I almost lost the eye. And so when people were coming up to me all night long going, geez, is the eye patch really? It's like Snake Plissken or something. And I would lift it up and they go, Jesus, put it.
Sorry. Yeah, oh my gosh. I want to also give you props because you're also a good actor. You're in one battle after another. If you haven't seen this movie, it's going to win and should win every award. Paul Thomas Anderson directed it. Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, the whole cast is phenomenal. And then you're in this, because I guess you're friends with Paul?
Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson, I'm like the junior most member of his little rep company. So like every 12 years, he gives me a call and says, hey, yeah, I need you for this one thing.
You crushed it. You're so good in this, and I know Paul Thomas Anderson's a genius, but I think that you wrote this line. But just tell me if I'm right, because I think I'm right. I think I know you. But did you write Semen Demon?
No, I did not.
What? You did not?
That was in the script.
Oh my gosh, that got applause. That's in the script.
You know, maybe you know what? Maybe I did write it.
Yeah, yeah. They got a standing ovation. Everyone. Oh wow. All right, I thought I knew you. I guess I don't. But you're also, people might know you from Adam Sandler put you in Billy Madison. You're the principal in Billy Madison. And you give that speech, yeah. And now it's a big meme online. Did you write any of this?
I did write that, yes.
All right, there you go.
I was in Toronto working on another movie, and Adam said, hey, there's a part I'd love you to do, and that speech, I have to remind myself what it is. Yeah, when Chris Farley used to suggest ideas at writers' meetings, I would just say, thanks, Chris, everyone's now dumber. Hope you're proud of yourself.
Yeah.
And so I sort of mined that for that film.
A lot of this is in the documentary. Downey wrote that. Are you nervous doing a documentary when they come up to you? Where you're like, I don't want to do a documentary.
Well, the tough thing is when there's nothing to shoot when you're doing a documentary about a writer. You know, there's a writer coming up with an idea doesn't look interesting on camera.
Yeah, I guess.
And if you track someone like 24/7, so you're with him or with him and the other writers when, you know, yes, you might get a few seconds, but it's a really low density thing.
No, it is not. It is so fascinating, and you got all these great people talking about you. Maya Rudolph is talking about you. David Letterman saying great things about you. Obviously, Lorne and Saturday Night Live.
They were very kind.
Yeah, but I mean, writing for all that stuff and being on Letterman when it first came on. What do you remember about? I know in the documentary you said that your mom turned you on to David Letterman.
Oh yeah, I was working in the summer of 1981, I guess. I was working in Long Island with Al Franken, later Senator Al Franken, on a script with Tom Davis. And my mom called me and said, asked me if I'd been watching the David Letterman show, his morning show. And I actually hadn't, and I knew who he was, but she was telling me, oh, Jim, it's so much funnier than Saturday Night Live. Sorry, but it is. And so I started watching. Even though she knows
that you write for Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah, she knew full
Thanks,
well.
Mom.
And anyway, so Dave called me when he was starting up Late Night in '82 and asked me to come in and meet with him, and I went just to meet him because I was a fan, and he offered me head writer, and I couldn't do it right away, but I was still finishing up that script, but. I joined the show a few months later.
You were rarely on camera, but I have a clip here that I'm going to show of you actually being on camera with Dave Letterman.
I think I know the one. Yeah.
Do you know? Do you want to set? Do you know?
Yeah. We would do a segment called Viewer Mail, where we'd take actual letters and just use them as an excuse to do some sort of goofy freeform thing. And I had been on the week before in order to. Avoid doing laundry. The writers would just wear college T-shirts that had been sent in. We'd get like boxes of them every week. And so I was wearing one from the University of Wauzeka at Steuben in Wisconsin. We got a letter about that.
Yeah, here we go. Here's Jim Downey on Late Night with David Letterman.
From 1983.
Dear Dave, on Wednesday, June 15th, I saw your head writer wearing a shirt that said University of Wauzeka at Steuben. I was wondering how he got the shirt. I live in Wauzeka and have seen those shirts here, but never expected to see one on your show. P.S. Does anyone there really know where Wauzeka or Steuben is? Well, gee, let's find out. Mr. Downey, is Jim? Jim, could you come? Yeah, Jim. I'm sure Kathy would be interested in knowing where you got the T-shirt that said Wauzeka and Steuben and so forth.
I've never even heard of the place.
You didn't go to school there?
No, never heard of it.
Yeah. Then how is it that you were wearing a shirt that said University of Wauzeka at Steuben?
Am I in some kind of trouble, Dave?
No, Jim, no. This is just we're trying to find out the origin of the shirt and so forth. Where did you get that shirt?
Well, I don't know, but sometimes I wear shirts without really reading what's on them.
Come on, that's how you do it. Thank you again for coming on, and thank you for always being nice to me and always rooting for me. Ever since I know, and you still do, yeah. I love you, buddy. That's Jim Downey right there. The documentary, Downey Wrote That, is streaming now on Peacock. Steve Martin and Alison Brown are performing when we come back.